ASMR. 1 second. There we go. And some light on the face. Some natural light. So, what should we draw today? So I did, was it Monday yesterday? It was, study Monday. Yes, medieval knight armor. Maybe I should draw something based on that study in my head, like application of study. But the study, I wasn't studying metal per se, I was studying being aware of my marks, right? So I should probably, if I want to do the study or use of the study, it would be to try to simplify or to build the image of whatever I'm going to draw from imagination and be very conscious about marks and slow down and be very deliberate. That would be the like implementation of the study. It would be to be more mindful. Hey Zelin, how's it going? What should we draw? What should we draw this morning? Yeah, I will try to be more mindful in how I draw the imaginary stuff now. Try to implement the thing I try to study. So now I'm gonna do the same, but a study of my imagination. If not, if there's no suggestion, then I will just draw something. I'm a desert strider. All right, I'm gonna do that. Desert strider or desert strider. Desert. Eclipse Fernandez. No, too late, sir. Time we have to start. So desert strider. Okay, so being mindful of what I'm gonna draw. Let's do maybe wide. A desert strider. Okay, I have a picture in my head. Hey Blind Fox, how's it going? Bjorn. What up? Right, so the picture in my head, I'm going to try to be expressive in my brush marks. I'm going to try to capture as much as I can in a deliberate fashion based on the study yesterday, right? Not so much what I drew, but the thing that I was thinking about. So just so you know the game plan, I'm going to sketch it out, but I'm not going to use this sketch, right? So the desert strider, in my mind, what I saw was like this strange kind of swooshy camel creature thing, and it's taking a step over the hill and a rider on top. That's the mental picture. I mean, I could use it, but this wasn't with any like real consideration of the lines. But let's go ahead. Let's see. Let's use this and see. and I will just be more mindful of what I'm going to be doing. So I think the light will come from here, which means I will have a cast shadow there. So I just want to be a little bit, I don't want to slow down too much, because naturally I do like to paint with speed. So maybe I'm going against my natural behavior by slowing down and being too mindful. But what I'm going to try to do is try to make a hybrid approach, right? Not only should I consider what I'm going to do, but I will take, like I just did, small breaks to try to understand what my next move should be. Slow down when I need to, speed up when I need to. I felt yesterday, yeah, I was a lot more mindful in my marks, but it took too long. I guess my ADHD was screaming a bit. Hey Paula, the rib, how's it going? What I'm using is a Cintiq 24-inch monitor tablet. If you know what Cintiq is, that's what the one I'm using. And it's not so much that like it is something you gotta use, but it fits my way of drawing really, really well. I had the opportunity to try one many years ago at Sega. I tried it day one. I absolutely loved it so much day one, even though at the time it was really expensive. I went home and ordered one myself, and at the time it was called 21-inch UX, which was before the Cintiq line came out, or maybe it was a Cintiq 21 UX, but it was good for the time, but compared to what it is now, it's quite shit. I still have it, but yeah, it's not the same. But yeah, as soon as I tried it, I knew that's the thing I gotta jump to. Like before that, I used a normal tablet, and I didn't mind the way you painted with it. Like I could easily use a normal tablet. I was quite happy using it as well. I was really fast with it. I could do whatever I wanted to do with the tablet, so that wasn't the problem. But as soon as I tried the Cintiq, or Cintiq, I guess. Oh, don't crash. Oh, it crashed. 1 second. Yep, crashed. Hey Narada, how's it going? Mimo 3D. If I ever tried other tablets, yes. Like I said, I did use the what are they called? Intius? 1 second, everybody. I managed to screen grab. So all I need to do now is just arrange it. And I will switch the screen on. The reason why I switch off the screen is that it might be, oh, 1 second. Might be client stuff shown if I do something else, and I don't want that. So I do like other tablets. I find them, I really like using them. It's a really nice tablets in general. I love. It's really good fun. So it's not like I'm anti other tablets. It's just what I love about Cintiq is the ability to see the marks. Like I can see the pen, and I can map from here to here with my eye, and I know that the direction that I'm gonna pull the hand, that's the mark that's gonna end up being, right? And that's what I love about using Cintiq. From day one, that's what I felt like when I tried that Cintiq at Sega. I was like, yeah, I can see where I'm going. I can feel the pen differently, because when you're using a tablet, you're reacting to the monitor of what your hand is doing. But with a Cintiq, you see both, and that's what I love. You know. Blind folks, what would you say the biggest leaps of improvement came from in my career? It's a good question. I think on average, it is being challenged to do something I'm not used to, and take responsibility for it, so that it's on your shoulders, which means you gotta really figure it out, or you're screwed, you know. I think personal accountability is what has improved me the most. And quite early on, I had to learn to do research. Not so much about having it like like not anything specific to do research, but the fact that doing research and learning what you're going to be doing is a form of art directing. And you do research to understand what you're going to draw, so that you have a grasp of what's needed. And the more research you do, the more ability you're going to have to quantify what's asked of you. So let's say someone wants the standard word of a hero, or a happy, or stylistically they will go, oh, Pixar, a Pixar-like character. And then you, of course, you have to understand, okay, what's Pixar? And you could easily just Google Pixar movie, look at the characters, and then do something similar. Or you can understand why they're doing the things they're doing, why the shapes are the way they are, how are they actually technically using materials versus lighting versus, all these things. So you're actually educating yourself. And when you're then, in terms of educating yourself, you can then you make abstracts from that knowledge, rather than just having to copy the reference, versus understanding the reference. And then if someone comes and says, we don't want Pixar, but we want Pixar, then you go, okay, Pixar uses this formula to create their style. What if I add this, or what if I add that to the mix and remove one of Pixar's like pillars of fundamental pillars, right? Then you get a completely different look, but the same approach of understanding what makes Pixar. So I would say that that would be one of the biggest things that improved my work of is kind of having the pragmatic approach and understanding what you're doing beyond pretty picture, because pretty picture is also important, right? You have to have the technical ability to do that, but I guess that kind of direction aspect will come when technique is no longer a struggle. I guess I've always I mentioned this on a stream where I take a month off every year. I take vacation for a month at the end of the year usually, and I don't touch art, and I reflect upon the year, and I don't even pick up a pen. So come January, when I start drawing again, I have evolved a bit. But I remember one year where I kind of realized that technique is no longer holding me back in terms of, is it the right proportion, or am I able to see where my proportions are wrong? Am I able to see where the lighting is wrong? Am I able to understand poses, or how do I get a pose, and why is my poses looking so weird, and so on. And when you're in that position, you're still learning. You're still not really seasoned per se, right? And I remembered one like end of year reflection where I'm going, oh shit, I don't need to struggle with that anymore. Now I need to struggle with what do I want to draw? How, like, what's the point of what I'm drawing? So the next year, after that, I set a goal of, okay, I gotta, the year's goal is to understand myself. What's the why do I do art? So that's it. That's one of the bigger things that I noticed that helped me a lot, was to take breaks as well, and not only be in the grind. Time for reflection is very important, as well as being in the grind and hustling and trying to learn everything. It's a little bit of like both, I guess. Hey, Woody Breakfast, what's going? How's it going? Bruno Romano's Weeping Jay. How is a Cintiq with posture? Le Rib, for me, I sit on a dinner table chair, so I don't lean in the chair. I have the Cintiq at a height that's perfect. I can see if I can show you. No. Like, I have my elbow on the table, but it's not like sharp, like a fast down angle, so there's a lot of weight on it. It's mostly just a pivot point, and everything is at that height where one isn't crooked, my back doesn't need to bend. Everything is at a very comfortable height, so there's a very zero effort in having to adjust my position, whereas I can just sit straight. If I sit straight with my back, everything is as it should be, But I can see in a lot of other people, in how they have arranged their desks and so on, how they Like they might be sitting looking down at the Cintiq a lot, which is really bad. Mine is more or less at height, head level. A voodoo breakfast, yeah, exactly. No, but it's not so much about me understanding what Pixar is, but the ability to make abstract or abstraction and understand them and apply them to your own art or to another client's art. So it's not so much about Pixar itself. It's about ability to, like I said, make an abstraction of it and understand. Okay, this is that. That is this. Like constructing a recipe. Like you can eat a cake and go, oh, these are the ingredients most likely. It seems like they use this technique to raise the mixture or whatever, you know. So you're not just enjoying the cake, and you could make a cake yourself, but you have the ability to break it down and systematically, like, okay, I don't like coconut to put in. I'll put whatever. Then I need to put one more egg in, and you can kind of start grasping it because you're at a different level, or you've been practicing that aspect of trying to understand, like decipher something, right? So it's not Pixar itself, but the understanding of like analyzing. Hey, Iglesias Miguel. Miguel was he came third in Unreal Bjorn 2. I will keep saying it, Miguel, because you are worth it. Simon Dwyer and Snivels, they don't come to the stream anymore. I guess they got what they wanted. No, I'm just kidding. I'm assuming they're busy. Like all things. Slowly I'm getting around to sending out their winnings. I've started making I edit to their final pieces, their winning pieces. So my idea was I'm gonna at the bottom of the image have all the names of everyone participated and highlighting them, and like so that you people when they see the print they can go, oh, that many people, you know, pretty cool. A voodoo breakfast, yeah, I know. I just wanted to clarify, you know. I think that's for me though. It's a little bit harder for me to say what made it a big impact in my improvement, because like I said, every year I take a break and I don't draw anything for a month. Absolutely, step away from computer, step away from art, don't look at anything related to art, and then January I'll start again. So it's a little bit hard to pinpoint at what point is the big improvements. But like I said, each year I set a goal of where I am at art-wise and where I want to be. What are my flaws? And how do I, in roundabout ways, how do I go about fixing them? And I guess that itself is a thing that helped me improve a lot by being very aware of what I love doing. Number one, what I love doing, as in I love creating characters, right? So I know I love creating characters. Um, and then I look at my characters and go, okay, what's the biggest flaw that I can see compared to others, and where I want to go, right? So I'll take a look at my own art every year and go, okay, like I'm weak with posing, like, or I'm weak with narrative, I'm weak with composition, or whatever it is. I try to spot it, and then go set a goal for the coming year. What I absolutely have to be aware of, let's say in this instance, it would be in this made-up scenario, it would be a composition, right? So every time I would do something, I have to put extra amount of effort into composition. I have to do extra amount of research in a composition itself, like what it is, what it does. So I know that like a year down the line, next end of the year, I won't see composition as a flaw. It will be a strength because I have had 1 year to do it, right? And that's what I've been trying to do every single year is like a yearly review, like in a very brutal way. Um, Look at my own art and consider what's shitty about it, and being honest, you know, not trying to hide behind excuses of why my art looks the way it does, right? So is it because I'm shit at posing, or I can't draw hands, why I always do a lot of people with fists, or what's the honest? And I just try to kind of be my own worst critic, and and try to spot where I'm cheating, you know. And that has helped me significantly. And helping others. I think I grew a lot um, later on in my career, when I've stopped being worried about technique. Um, I grew a lot as an artist when I started coaching other artists, because then even more so I needed to be able to explain it to someone else, whatever mistakes they were doing, or uh, what wasn't right in their work. So I had to understand it myself even further, even deeper. So if you're going to say to someone why that color pink is wrong in that palette, you also have to be able to, with theory, explain it to them, and not just go, "Oh, paint it this way because." There's a lot of people who say, "Well, this is how you do it. Just do it this way, and it will be approved." And the artist itself will never grow, and the person giving that feedback will never be able to. They will be forced to carry the heavy load all the time instead of sharing it. Inefficient, in other words. Kind of fun painting. I feel like it's a little bit weird color-wise, or flat. And I'm trying to be aware of the marks. I don't know. Not really sure. Lack of knowledge there. Let's do some. Kind of nice. Yeah. Hey, Kirill, how's it going? Fernandez. Oh, the Unreal Pyramid? Yeah, man. Voodoo breakfast. Yeah, exactly. You can see it also when you're doing portfolio reviews. Iglesias Miguel, Desert Strider. You see it at the bottom right corner always. Every day the topic is there. Hunted. Yeah, I think so too. That's why I kind of was fiddling over here. And I think it has to be a little bit more ambient light, and there's a highlight underneath the body there that didn't really do justice or serve any purpose. What I probably should do is flip the image, and also I don't want to. I don't want to see it. I see mistakes already before flipping, but here we go. Between using line art and lineless, it's really hard, you know, like I can't. You should always, when I comment on things in terms of technique, I use my own concoctions of techniques. I'm not classically trained, so as a kind of heads up, whatever I'm gonna recommend is based on my own kind of mad professor ideas. But for me, the biggest problem I had going from a lot of very line art heavy to very brush or lineless heavy approach was the use of lines and edges. Edges were always the biggest issue for me. It's like because you're used to describing form with a line that separates the form rather than being aware that edge or edge of a silhouette is just the meeting of two forms, you know, that creates a line. So for me, starting doing like alla prima stuff and painting things from vagueness to definition helped a lot. Let me see if I can find a episode really quickly. 1 second. Let's see here. If I did one. I think this one. Mind you, this is not the best example ever, but in this warm-up, look at that beard. Whoa. So instead of doing lines, this technique I call light only, is where you start painting what you want to paint based on the light source that you have defined. So in this instance, it's top lit, and I have to draw a mammoth. I think it was woolly mammoth. So the idea is I started just painting with the light source of the major forms without even doing a line sketching it out what it's supposed to be. But in my mind, I know kind of where I want to take it, right? So by continuing that approach, you just layer and layer and define instead of defining. The first thing you do is with a mark of a line, you know. Rather, you just carve things out of form. And again, this example isn't the best because the end result is quite kind of horrific. I think I had crashes and everything while doing this. But the idea is there, right? That I didn't do line art. I started like defining it out of blocks rather than lines. It's a really useful, fun technique. It takes a very specific way of thinking, but when you understand what's required, it requires you to be very consistent in the light source. You can't cheat the light source, and you can't go to comfort zone stuff in that sense of how you draw certain things, because a lot of times if you start defining things from the base of the light source, you can't paint the eye the way you like to draw the eye. You have to draw the eye the way the light source determines it, and you have to be aware of that, all those inbuilt mannerisms in order for it to work. One last little thing and then I will have to stop because time is up. I love brown palette. I don't know why. It's just, I love it. I'm a sepia kind of guy. That's pretty nice. Teal and orange. Classic. But in removing those warm tones. No. This will be good enough. I will leave it at that. Kyoshu. My pleasure, man. My pleasure. All right. Stream ended. Let's find someone to raid because I need to go and do work. I need to go and design characters and monsters and whatnot. What Tim Rammer's doing? Oh, he's getting pretty far with his robot. Let's raid Tim Rammers. As per usual, thanks everyone for joining in. Have a fantastic day. Thanks everyone for chatting. Thanks for the question. It's always fun to answer questions. See you guys tomorrow morning. Same time. Be ready with the topic. Today was Desert Strider. Pretty cool. Alright. Do the outro and then it'll take us to the raid, so don't go anywhere. Have a great one.